Hello farmers, it's Farmer Deb with another Big Farm tutorial. And today we are going to talk about the dairy. We're going to talk about how to build a dairy, what you make in it, and how it can be beneficial to your game. Now, first of all, in order to build a dairy, you must be at level 150 or above. Sorry, if you're below 150, you can't build one yet. In order to build the dairy, you're going to go down to your build menu. And you're going to choose the tab for special buildings, and it is on the second page right here. Now the dairy is going to allow you to produce dairy items on your farm, and you can have up to 3 of them on your main farm only. I have my 3 right here, and you can see that mine are ready to collect. So when we click on the dairy, in order to produce goods, you're going to click right here where it says prepare. And you'll see that there are a variety of items that you can now make. You've got your frozen yogurt and your cheese and milkshakes and flan and pancakes and all kinds of dairy goodies. Now you'll also notice that up here you've got the little truck that will deliver items to your dairy, just like you have with your bakery. So if you're running low on items, you have to have them stored in the dairy. You can click this little truck and it'll take from your regular inventory and it'll send it to your dairy inventory. So for instance, right now I can see that I'm very low on honey, but I have plenty of honey in my inventory. So if I click right here, I can move honey from my regular inventory over to the dairy, and let's do about that much, and then just ship it. And now you'll see that my current inventory went down, but my dairy inventory went up. You can also do that with a little truck down here. And you can also do it if you click on, like if I was on my flower farm and actually clicked on honey and I had too much, it would let me choose where I wanted to send it, and I could send it to the dairy farm that way too. All right, so I'm going to make some cheese. So in order to produce, all you have to do is click this little button. You'll get all the information about it, how many it's going to make. This is going to give me 32 servings of cheese. It's going to take an hour. It's going to show you how much money it costs to produce and the items that is needed for it. And as your dairy upgrades, the amount of items that you need will decrease. So you'll always make the same amount of the item, but the ingredient amounts will decrease. So it won't take as much. And once you're ready, you just click produce. Now, the one thing I do want to point out with upgrades is that for some reason, these are the only buildings in the game that upgrade automatically. That's right, automatically. So when it is ready for this building to upgrade, it is going to upgrade all by itself. Unlike other buildings that require you to choose when to upgrade them, these are automatic. So you might log into your farm one day and see that your dairy needs workers because it's upgraded and you have to assign the workers. So you have to keep that in mind. If you know that your dairy is getting close to an upgrade, make sure that you have the workers for it, because if you don't, then you have to take time to upgrade a house in order to get the workers. And that whole time, that means that your dairy is not producing any items. All right, so now we have figured out how to build it. We know how to make items in it. Now, what do we do with those items? Well, there's a couple things. If you just want to sell them, you can do that. You can go into your barn and you can scroll down to your dairy items and you can just sell them right from your barn and make money off of them. So if nothing else, this could be a little money maker for you. And they must be all the way down here at the bottom. Here they are. So you can click right here and you can sell them. But there is another way to use your dairy products in order to really benefit your game. And that is by using those items to complete dairy contracts that will help you earn dairy tokens. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to come over here to the market hall. Market hall, as you probably already know, is where you complete contracts based on the items that you make on your main farms. You also have fish contracts. Once you build dairies, you now have a tab for dairy market contracts. And you'll see that I have 6 different contracts that I can fill. And it's going to show me what I'm going to get from this contract. So from this one, when I fill it, I'm going to get 4 tokens for these 4 items. Now, when I'm looking at a contract, so if I click on this one right here, I can see the 4 items that I'm going to get, but unfortunately I can't see what it's going to require yet. I can see how many of this unknown item I'm going to need, but it isn't until I actually start the contract that I'm going to be able to see what I have. So if you are just starting out with dairies, or you haven't been producing in your dairies very often and you know that your dairy products are low, don't start the contract because these are timed. So once I click on this to start it, now I can see what is involved, what I need, but I only have 7 hours to do it. So if you don't have enough, there's a chance that that contract could expire before you have the ingredients that's needed. All right, so I have 2 of them that are started right here. Let's see if I have enough to fill them. I'm going to fill this one, and I'm going to fill this one. And now I'm going to complete that contract, and I'm going to receive tokens for these 8 items. Okay, and there they are. This is what they look like. Now, these tokens are really interesting because they allow you to produce that item on something completely different. For instance, I have a corn token. We know that corn is grown on a field, but with a booster corn token, I can grow corn on any of my other animals or orchards. So I know this sounds crazy, but stay with me. I can come over here to my cherry orchard. If I click on my cherry orchard, I'm going to see this little cow. This is for my dairy booster tokens. When I click on this, it's going to show me all of the tokens that I have available, and I can add a token to that cherry orchard. So when the cherries are ready to be harvested, that token will also allow me to harvest that item. So if I add corn to it, like that, and put a sign, now when I hover over the cherries, you'll see this cherry orchard doesn't have anything. All I'm going to get from it is 532 cherries and the leaves. But now when I hover over this one, you'll see that I'm going to get 602 cherries and I'm going to get 420 corn. So I'm going to add these booster tokens to animals and orchards for extra product. So now these could be products that you need for things on your farm. For instance, corn. We always use corn to produce feed in our mills for our chickens. Or it could be something that you don't necessarily need to process something, but you can make money off of it. So if I had maybe a rose token, so I would produce roses on my cherries. I can't really use roses for anything, but I can sell them. So now I can make some extra money that way. And there are, like I said, a variety of tokens. And when you click on the market hall and click on those contracts, it'll show you all of the tokens that you have available. Now I have some on my other farm. So I'll show you what it looks like when they're ready to be harvested. I grew some items on my almonds. All right, so I have 3 almond orchards that are ready to be harvested. You'll see that this one has just almonds. There was no booster token added to this one. But these 2, you'll see I'm getting almonds and cherries. And on this one, I'm getting almonds and peaches. So these had booster tokens on them. When I click on it to collect, I am now going to get cherries and I'm going to get the almonds, just like that. All right, so now you can start to see some good uses for these tokens. You're going to get lots of extra products, but you know, I always like to think strategic. And we all know that the Cooperative Championship is a big event. So how could these booster tokens help me in a co-op championship? Well, imagine if you have tokens like corn and pigs and eggs and milk. that you are now growing on your cherries and your peaches and your almonds that you don't need for a cooperative championship. Now, if I need some extra corn, I can just harvest a cherry orchard and I'm going to get some extra corn. So these booster tokens have really helped me when it comes to the co-op championship because it gives me another way to get those items besides waiting for the corn to grow on my field. And this isn't just for the co-op championship. This is going to help in other events as well. For instance, when you're doing a hard worker event and you're trying to collect as much corn as you possibly can, if you have corn on your fields plus corn on your apple orchards, you're going to get that much more. So it's really beneficial to have those extra amounts. All right, so the last thing that I want to show you is how to add the tokens and how to choose what to put them on. As you know, items on your farm take different amounts of time to produce. So for instance, peaches take a very long time. Almonds peaches take, is it close to 12 hours? And almonds only take like 3 hours. The longer it takes for that thing to produce, the longer your tokens will last. Tokens are not permanent. When I add a token to an almond orchard, as you just saw, one of those tokens broke. They don't last forever. They're only good for a certain amount of uses. And if it's on an item that produces quickly, and I'm harvesting that item quickly and often, then it's not going to last as long. So my strategy is I try to pick the really good tokens that I would use in events like corn and rutabagas and maybe milk and eggs. I try to take those items and I try to put those on things that take a long time to harvest, like my cherries, my peaches, my cows, even my ducks, because they take long periods of time. And then some of the other tokens that aren't really beneficial to me in events, but I'm just using to make some extra money, like the flowers, I would put those on things that take a shorter time to harvest. Like I would put those maybe on my almonds or my apples, or you can always put them on your pigs or any of the animals on your main farm as well. All right, so let's talk about how to actually add that token and what I'm talking about. I'm going to go to this almond orchard right here, and all you do is click on it, and again, click that little cow. And it's going to show on the right side all of the tokens that I have available. Now, I know that almonds are very quick to produce. They only take 3 hours. So I want to maybe focus on something that I'm going to use to make money, not necessarily to help in an event, like, I don't know, let's do a sunflower. So in order to add it, first of all, I have to know what kind of feed I used on that almond orchard, because you'll see, or I'm sorry, not feed, fertilizer. You'll see the different types of fertilizer are listed here. And if I add a sunflower to a spot with maybe super fertilizer, but I didn't use super fertilizer, then I'm not going to get that sunflower when I harvest it. So I know that I used regular fertilizer on those, and that's where I'm going to add it. You see these with the lines through it? These are broken. So I've used them up. You'll see that there's a 40% chance that it's going to break when I harvest. So you're only going to get 2-3 uses out of that token on an almond orchard. And then they break, and then they're no good anymore. So I need to replace it. I'm going to click on my sunflower, and then I'm just going to click on one of the broken tokens. I think I unclicked it. There we go. You can also repair these with gold. So that's what's coming up here. It's saying I can repair this token and use it again if I spend $1,500 gold, which I'm not going to do. And you're welcome to spend gold on that if you want, but I'm not going to, because I'm getting plenty of tokens. I don't need to repair the ones that I already have. I'm just going to replace them with other ones. So I'm going to put the sunflower there, and maybe I can always use barley from my donkeys. So I'll put some barley. And there, that's all it takes to add the token to that almond. Again, you just have to know what fertilizer or feed, if it's an animal, that you used. And then I just click assign, and that's it. And now I can go and see, hover over it, and you can see all of the things that I'm going to get. I'm going to get 20 sunflowers, and I'm going to get 500 barley. And that is how you use the dairy to be very beneficial for your game. So again, as you're adding these tokens, think strategic. Think about what I'm going to need in events. Where can I put a corn token that's going to help me in an event? I mentioned earlier that you can put them on your cows and your ducks. And I just wanted to throw out that I would not put anything on my cows or my ducks during a co-op championship because I need my ducks for eggs. So I wouldn't want to harvest a duck to get corn because then I would be using up my duck and I wouldn't have it for eggs. So for me personally, I always use my tokens on my orchards because I don't use my orchards except for my apples in a co-op championship. And I like to use them on my peaches and my cherries mainly because they last the longest on those. Maybe on my ducks, I would use flowers or something that I wasn't going to need for the event. All right, so I have shown you how to build a dairy. I've shown you how to produce items in the dairy, how to ship your items to the dairy, and then how to use those products to complete dairy contracts and earn lots of Brewster tokens and how you can best use those for your game. I think I've covered everything, but if I haven't, if you have any other questions about the dairy, please feel free to leave your questions in the comments below and I will answer them. That's all I have for you today. So until our next video, happy farming, everyone.